Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we'll start project system in SAP ERP. This is a bit different from others. So this project system actually has no organizational level data. So what we do is we use the other modules organizational data for this one. So we'll talk about project structure, we'll talk about work breakdown structure, and then we'll talk about networks and activities. Now, project has some characteristics. Any project must be, usually it's a complex thing. It must be unique. This is one of the characteristics. And it involves high degree of risk. So any project has a risk of failure and success. So that is one of the few of the characteristics. Project have precise targets, it's a contract between the contractor and the party, who wants this project to be done. So the project has a scope, project has a duration. It's cost intensive. If the duration of the project prolonged, then it will increase the cost. It is capacity intensive. We have limited number of employees that we can use for the project. We cannot have unlimited employees, or more than that, because it will again cost, increase the cost of the project. The project involves several departments. Like if you see here, we have a production, accounting, profitability, or purchasing, sales and distribution, or maybe assets, enterprise assets management might be one of them. So the project involves several departments. Projects has some significance to the business. If you are doing some project, then maybe it will be in the betterment of the company or the business for which we are doing. A project needs resources. Project has a budget. Project has a dates, fixed date. It has a cost, and definitely we can have the payment process for the project deliverables. So these are some of the characteristics of the project. Now, when we talk about the project has some of the objects or some of the elements. One of them is work breakdown structure elements. We do have activities, and then we also have and when we link the activities, it becomes a network. So we can say that we have like network, we have activities, we have WBS. These are all the objects of the project system. Means when we create a project, and if we want to create the so we need to add work breakdown structure for that project. So work breakdown structure is one of the project object. For work breakdown structure, we need to add some activities for that. So activities are also the part of object. When we link the activities, it becomes a network. So network is also a part of projects. Now, in work breakdown structure, we assign the resources at the work breakdown structure level. We define the task and assign those tasks and assign resources to those tasks in the work breakdown structure. So we can say that work breakdown structure, or WBS, is nothing but a bucket, where all activities belong to the project are captured. if you see the work breakdown structures, and they are in the hierarchical order form. So it can help us plan the project. It can help us to plan the cost of the project, plan the revenue of the project. It helps us in planning the payments of the project, scheduling, budgeting. So all these things we can do at the work breakdown structure level. Work breakdown structure also shows how much time required for different activities. Those are linked with the work breakdown structure. How much amount of work, how much cost is involved. Now, if we talk about the activities, activities are nothing but the collection of tasks. So if you have 2 tasks or 3 tasks, it becomes an activity. Now, if we link the activities, it becomes a network. On activity, we can plan the cost, we can control the cost, we can plan the dates for those activities. We can plan the resources, we can plan the production resource tools, what equipment is required, what material is required. Everything we can plan on the activities. And then we assign the activities to the WBS. If you see the third picture in the bottom part, so all the small blues, light blues are the activities we are assigning to the work breakdown structures. So if we talk about the project has like, project contains objects, and one of the object is work breakdown structure, another object is activity, another object is the network. If we link the activities, it becomes a network. So on this slides, we discussed 3 objects of the project system. Now, project has several phases. As we know that projects are complex in nature, that requires a high degree of precision. And if we are not precise in amount, not precise in the date or the human resource, then definitely it will cost a lot. So we have to be very precise. So when we are planning the flow of the project, we can schedule the deadline, we can schedule the date, we can make the resource available for those activities. We can assign the budget to the project. We do have a rough plan for the project. At this point, we plan the requirement of 1 or more resources. For example, we can assign the work center. Okay, how much work centers capacities are required? Maybe 2 work centers are required for this project. What material or raw material is required? We can decide the material at this point. What production resource tools are required? We can do that. But how much cost is going to be, for this? So that is what we design, or plan during at this stage, the rough cut plan. Rough plan, you can say that in a simple language. Now, if you go into the detailed plan, if you go for the detailed plan, you can say that now we work on the WBS. So work breakdown structure contains the detail of the detailed plan of the project. On the work breakdown structure, we declare the basic dates, we schedule the dates. And then when we start the project, then we enter the actual dates. We plan the cost, we plan the revenue, and then when actual cost happens, that is what we record, or actual revenue happens, that we record. Payment scheduling, you can go with the payment scheduling. That is also, payment scheduling is also recorded or stored at the work breakdown structure level. Periodic processing is also we maintain at the work breakdown structure. Any budget for that particular work breakdown structure we decide. Any one work breakdown structure has many activities. So for all these activities, what is the budget required that we can assign on the work breakdown structure level. Any commitment for purchasing raw material or purchasing internal external activities, that is also happening at the work breakdown structure. So this is what we can say the detail of the detailed planning of the project. So we can do the detailed planning of the project on work breakdown structure level. And what we can do on the work breakdown structure level, these are the things that we can maintain: the dates, the cost revenue, the payment dates, and payment data, and the periodic processing, commitments, and budgets. Any question here? Now, so how we can create the project? We can create the project with the help of Project Builder. So this is the software that can help us defining a project. So this project builder is very user friendly tool actually. We can create the project very easily. It can help you in accessing the project structure. You can do the project stuff efficiently and quickly. You can maintain the project objects in the project structure. We have a project builder, and we also have another software that we can use for project. That is what we call project planning board. So both softwares can help in creating the projects and creating the work breakdown structures. So we have like two projects, two softwares. One is Project Builder, other is Project Planning Board. Now,
sir, just one question.
yeah.
Since you initially mentioned that PS does not have any organizational level data.
Yeah.
So these projects that we are going to initiate, so I think they would be under some department. So for example, the previous example was from manufacturing side. So again, I was thinking that
Yeah.
isn't there a need for some type of organizational data?
We will be using the organization level data of manufacturing, or for material management, or for controlling. But like, for example, if I give you the example of purchasing, in purchasing we have like client, company code, and then we have plant, storage location, and then purchasing organization. These are the organization level data that we have for the purchasing department. Now, for project builder, when we go for the purchasing the raw material for some activity, we will be using the purchasing department organization level data. If we are having a project for some revenue earning, we'll be using the sales organization data. If we are having a project for assets, enterprise assets management, we will be using the this organization data for the assets enterprise. If we have any payments receiving or giving, we'll be using finance, or we'll be using the controlling. So this project system itself does not have any fixed what you call organizational level data. Depending on the nature of the project, we'll be using those organizational level data which are available in other modules.
Got it, sir. Got it. Thank you.
Now, we have, like, if you see here, we have the operative indicators. Now, these operative indicators basically help you to define the characteristics of the work breakdown structure. Now, some of the work breakdown structure elements we are using for planning the cost. So they will be flagged as planning element. If you're using some work breakdown structure, so you can say that these are the work breakdown structures, WBS. Some of them we are using for posting actual cost. Oh, those will be treated as account assignment elements. And some work breakdown structure might be we are, running a project for selling some items, for revenue purposes. So those work breakdown structure elements, which we will be posting the revenue, will be flagged as billing elements. So some of the WBS will be planning element, some of the will be account assignment element, and some of the WBS element will be billing elements. And by the way, this is an exam question. They may ask about these three operative indicators. So just make a note on that. These are the three. They may come in the exam. So we can say that this is one of them is planning element, one of them is account assignment element, and one is billing element. Now, we can use Project Builder to create a project. We have project objects. For example, every project has a project definition. Every project has work breakdown structure element, WBS. Every project has activities. Every project has activity element. Every project has project structure text. Every project has milestone. Every project needs material components. Project needs documentation. So we have these objects: project definition, WBS elements, activities, documents, milestones, material components. So when we create the project, we also create the project objects as well. And then we assign these project objects to different location at the different level of the project. So we can create the project manually. We can create the project from a template. You see here, we can create the project manually. We can define our own project structures, WBS element, activities, and everything. Or we can make a copy of that. Okay. Either from blank template, or we can copy from any already, operative structure which we have already used before. For example, I want to create a project for building a new school. So maybe this is my third school, so I have the project, already created for building a school. So I can just make a copy of that, or I can create a project from the scratch. It is also possible that we can get some of the elements from operative and some of the elements incorporate from the templates. So this is also possible that we can build the project like that. Now, if you see here, this is interesting slide, exam question, definitely from this slide. So if you see here, we are having like project work breakdown structures. And then this work breakdown structure has furthermore work breakdown structures. And every work breakdown structure has the activities. Now, when we link these activities, if you see here, we created a link. This becomes the network. And this is an activity, and the links are relationship, how the activities are related to each other. Now, we use the activity in the network to plan resources. For example, activity number 1 needs some labor code. Activity number 2 needs machine. Activity number 3 needs something else, production resource tool, for example. So we need to plan our resources for these activities, which are available in the network. So maybe activity number 1 needs labor, activity number 2 needs machine, number 3 needs PRTs. So we have to assign the labors and the capacity and the tools accordingly. So, and it is also possible that some of the activities might be internal activities. So we need the labor, we need the dates, we need the capacities for those activities. If it is an external activity, maybe we need to purchase some consultant, we need to purchase some of the raw material. So we have to have. If the activities need material, we need to manage the material for that. The cost of the activity will be recorded. If there is any milestone for that particular activity, okay, if we have done this activity, this is the milestone, we have to make the payment for that. So these are the functions of the activities and the networks. So once the activity is complete, maybe we have to do the periodic processing. We have to settle down the price of that to the project maybe, or to some production order, or to any controlling objects. Now, when we talk about the network, so we need the network structure graphic software. And that network structure graphic software that will help you in creating a network of activities. So we will be doing we can insert the activities, we can create the relationships, And now if you see, we are having and this is again very important from the exam point of view. This slide may have, they may ask you that, okay, the network structure graphic has description, the activity date, the control key, and the activity float, So they may ask you for the relationship and the duration of the activity. So they may give you 4 or 5 options, and you have to select like 2 or 3 options from that. So very important slide from the exam point of view. Now, control key. This control key tells, okay, whether this activity is an internal activity or an external activity. Either we'll be doing internal processing or external processing. For example, our project is to build some product. So we are doing internal processing in our manufacturing. If this is to purchase some of the services of the consultant from outside to design some product, so then we'll be having we will have a different code for external processing. We do have activity float. This activity float is interesting. What happens, when we are linking these activities, sometimes it is possible that we can link the closing one to the first one, for example. Oh, then it is like we call it a closed cycle. And it is difficult to find out because one of the activity is connecting to the first one. So this network structure graphic tools or cyclic analysis tool that can help us in correcting that error. Now, if you see here, these are the project objects. WBS element. This is the WBS element. Or it could be a document for activities, work breakdown structures, project text, work breakdown structures, activities. And then this is the milestone. Again, project object. Once we are done with this activity or this work breakdown structure, this is the milestone. Maybe we have to make the payment. Another milestone, maybe the project is closed. So we have like project object, for example, the first, just a revision, like project definition is a project object. WBS is a project object. Activity, project object. Activity elements, project object. Project structure text is a project object. Milestone is a project object. Material component, maybe we need some material component, that is also project object. Now, let's see the planning dates and resources for a project. And for that matter, we'll be using planning board, project planning board. So when the project system allows us to plan in many different ways. We can plan the resources, we can plan the project dates, we can plan the project material, we can plan the resources, plan the cost, plan the payments, plan the project structures, the work breakdown structures and the activities and the relationship. So the project system software allow us to do all these things. Now, we have the project planning board. This is a graphical user interface. And we can use this project planning board to create and edit the project. We can create the project definition, we can create the WBS elements, we can create activities, relationship, milestones, documents, project structure text. And all objects we can create with the help of project planning board. So we have a project builders and we have a project planning board. So there are two softwares. We can use both of them to create the project. The project planning board is based on the Gantt chart. You see here on the back. Now, it is possible that we have a project and this project does not have the network, means network of the activities. Then what will happen is we will define the dates in the work breakdown structures. We will not, since we don't have the activities. If we have the activities, yes, we can define the dates in the activities. So what will happen, for example, we have like 5 activities and the activity 1 will have 1 day, another has 2 days, another has 3 days. So all the dates will be added up and it will be updated. It will update the work breakdown structure. So we know that from the work breakdown structure that this work breakdown structure will take like 6 days based on the dates available in the activities. So computer will automatically get the dates from the activity and it will update the work breakdown structure. But in case we don't have the activity, we don't have the network, then we will define the dates manually in work breakdown structure element. So we can so using the planning board, project planning board, we can plan, we can check, and we can change the dates. We can plan, we can check, and we can schedule the resources. We can distribute the work. We can compare the capacities. We can calculate the cost. So these things we can do in the project planning board. Now, using the project planning board, we can select work breakdown structure element. We can schedule the activities, and especially those activities which are assigned to the work breakdown structure. The dates assigned to the activities can be, brought within the project structures. We have the actual dates, and we have the planned dates, so we can, compare. So this was like, if we don't have the if we don't have the networks, okay, if we don't have the network, then everything will be, we have to specify the dates on the work breakdown structure level. But what if we have the networks? You see here, we have the networks of activities. So we can carry out the scheduling automatically. And we can derive the dates of activities. And we can derive the dates of, the work breakdown structure element. So in the project that has the network, so we can carry out scheduling to automatically derive the dates from, automatically derive the dates, activity dates, and also the work breakdown structure dates. We can do the scheduling, forward scheduling and backward scheduling. For example, we can say, okay, I want this project on 30th of January completed. So based on the activity, so it will go with the backward scheduling. So it will say, okay, you have to start from 1st of January then. If I say I want to start the project on 1st of January, then based on the activities and the date and time and everything, it will say, okay, it will be completed on 30th of January. So networks can be scheduled forward and the backward. Now, if you remember, we talk about the float. Now, the difference between the earliest and the latest date of an activity is referred to as a float. A float can be negative or float can be zero. If it is negative, then the activity is very critical. Earliest date, we want to finish this thing as early as possible, or at late as this much. So if you have another activity, if the float is negative and we subtract the time from one activity to another time, if it is negative, then it is very critical. So all these things actually taken care by the project system. Now, so what we learned is we learned the project planning board, and we know we can plan the dates for work breakdown structure in the project planning board. And we do have another software that is what we call Project Builder. Both softwares, we can create the projects and we can, plan the dates for WBS elements as well. And the third one is network structure graphic. So that we can use for linking or creating a relationship of activities and making the networks. Now, assigning materials and resources to the project. We do have some stock items, we have non-stock items, and we have to do the resource planning. So if you see in this slide, the material establish the link between projects, system, and the sales and distribution. You see here. So this is my project system. So the material that we are selling, that is creating a link between that. The material we are purchasing, that is creating a link between the material management and the project system. The material we are manufacturing in this project is creating a link between the project system and the production planning. Now, if the material is could be a stock item, material could be non-stock item. So we have a non-stock item and we have a stock item. If the stock is available, we will do the reservation. How we will do the reservation? With the help of MRP. Either we will get it from the material management or we'll go for the production planning. Either it will be, if the material is shortage, if we have the shortage of material, then we'll go for the purchasing. If we manufacture the raw material, then we'll go for the plan order. And that will be going to the production planning. A non-stock item, definitely it is not available, so we have to create a purchase requisition. And then it will be going to that. If the stock material is available, we will do the reservation. We will reserve the material for our project. Now, if the item category, so we have two types of item category that we talk about. Item category, stock items and the non-stock item. Now, if the item category is non-stock item, which is not available, that is not available in the warehouse stock or for the project stock, what we have to do is we have to purchase. We have to create a purchase requisition. And these non-stock items, when we have to create a purchase requisition, we will not create the purchase requisition for keeping this item into the stock. No, we will directly purchase for that activity in that network. So as soon as the purchase requisition will go, the material will receive, it will directly assign to the network activities. And if the purchase requisition is created, then we'll follow the complete cycle of, create the purchase requisition. We have to go for the bids. Maybe quotation will come. We'll pass the quotation. We'll select the vendor, and then we'll create the purchase order and monitor the purchase order, good receipts and invoice verification, and that is done. But everything will be done for non-category item category and non-stock item, and that is done for activity. Now, we use the activities on the network. If you see here, we have the activities. We use the activities on the network to plan the resources required for the project. So If this activity needs some, either it can be processed internally or it can be processed externally. If it is processed externally, then we go for the purchase order. Purchase order for, buying the services of a consultant, buying the material from outside. If it is inside, then we have to be worried about the capacity. Do we have the work centers available? Do we have the workforce available? Do we have the capacity? So that is how we will be doing the resource planning, either internally process activity or externally process activity. Now, if we are doing the internal processing, so system can plan the capacity. If we are doing internal processing, then system will plan the capacity for future. System can plan the cost of the activities. Work center, we have the work center. That is a place where activities will be carried out. So work center also contain the data for scheduling. Work center also contain the data of the capacity. So we can do the capacity planning as well. Work center contain the costing data as well. How much this activity will cost. We can distribute the work among employees, the workforce. And when we confirm the activity, we reduce the capacity, So means we confirm that this job is done. So that capacity or the work center will be released, will be available. The actual cost will be posted to that project system, to that project. So when we have the internal activities, we are talking about work centers capacity, we are talking about the dates of scheduling, available capacity, we are talking about the data centers, the cost centers, who will bear the cost or who will be performing the work, assignment of the persons, and this is all, all in-house. Now, similarly, when we go for the external processing, now in this case, it will be like a purchase order. So we can get the job done externally for that particular activity or for that particular network. We can get the job done from outside. And you remember the control key, that we have a control key that can tell us whether it's an internal activity or an external activity. So based on the control key, it will create a purchase requisition or purchase order, and then the job will be done from outside. Now, planning the project cost and revenue and budget. Okay, cost planning in project. Manual cost planning for WBS elements. So if you see here, these are the work breakdowns, structures element. We can plan the cost for work breakdown structure element. In addition to that, we can also create the activities for these work breakdown structure, and we can have, we can manually enter the cost for these activities, and these will be extrapolated to the work breakdown structures. So either we can enter the cost at the work breakdown structure, or we can enter the cost at the activity level, and then it will be automatically transferred to the work breakdown structure level. So we have like different methods that we can use for one of them is unit costing, easy cost planning, projects and orders, and cost planning using activities, and network costing. So these are different methods. We can pick one of them for our project according to the need. Now, when you plan the dates and resources in network activity, the system automatically determines the planned cost as part of the network costing. So when we plan date and resources, in the network activities, these are the network activities. So when we plan dates and resources in network activities, the system automatically determines the planned cost as part of the network costing. And if you see here, we have the internal processing activity. So for internal processing activities, if you see, so this activity belongs to some cost centers. And if we have the external processing, then we'll be creating a purchase order or external activity. The cost will be going to that portion. So in our project, we can say that some of the activities are internal activities, some of the activities are external. So if you see here, external activities has some services that we are buying. For internal activities, we need some material, we need some primary cost, all those things are. So overall, this project has internal activities, this project has a material, it has an external activity, and some of the transport. So everything. So these are all different activities actually. The total of this activity becomes the cost of the project. Or you can say the network costing. Because activity makes the network, and total cost of all activities. For example, we are having like 5 activities here. So all those activities will cost you, the total will be here for that particular project. Now, we have to estimate the budget. And in that case, we have to be very precise. We have to try to be accurate as much as possible. So we have to, estimate the cost. We have to make the funds available in the form of a budget, and then we have to approve the budget. So we plan the cost, we request for the budget, we approve the budget, and then actually we got the budget. Now, if we see, we have the original budget. That is the budget that we got it. Maybe after some activities, we found out that, okay, now the taxes are high, so we can update the budget. Okay, so when we start the project, we release the budget. Now, after a period of time, for example, the project is gone for more than a year, For the next year, we have some amount left. We will carry forward that amount of budget for the next year. So we have the original budget, we have the budget updates, we have the budget release, and then budget carry forward. These four options they may ask you in the exam question as well. Now, when we assign the funds and we have the availability, sometime it happens that we were expecting like 80,000 expense, but what happens? It becomes 100,000. It could be the prices of the material got increased, all of a sudden increase in the price of material. So there you will get the warning. So you can, have some kind of mechanism that can, make you an alert that you are going a bit high. And it is also possible that you have some estimate here for the amount, and then it might be actual cost might be a 30,000, but you have planned for 120,000. So that is also possible. And here's some amount that you have done commitment for some purchase orders or purchase deposition, like that. And this might be a cost for some internal orders or production orders that you can manufacture internal activities, the cost for these things. So basically, we assign the funds for different activities, and we have some control mechanism that can, gives you some warning shots that, okay, the project budget is, underutilized or overutilized. Now, recording the progress of a project and analyze the progress of a project. Actual dates. Now the project starts. The project start, we have the basic dates, and now we will start recording the actual dates. And similarly, we'll record the employee time, and then we will do some kind of analytics. So if you see here, so during the planning phase, we have some basic dates that, okay, we'll start our project from that particular date. But now is the actual project starts, so we will enter the actual start date in this. So in the execution of the project, we'll set the actual dates. We will record all the activities. For example, how many employees are there? So we'll enter the timesheet. So once the time is entered into the timesheet, it can be approved and transferred to different applications. So HR, it will go to the HR, it will go for the confirmation of the activities, when the confirmation activity happen, that amount of that employee will be charged to that maintenance order or the production order, or, the cost of internal cost allocation. So this cost will be allocated from one cost center to another one cost object to another cost object. If there's any services we purchase, it will go to the material management system. We do have some information system, once we are recording all our data in the project system, then we can get the analysis of dates, we can get the analysis on capacities and progress analysis, and we have different information systems available in project system for different kinds of analysis. We do have, okay, this is another interesting part. This is the information system, okay? Now, information system is like, is not only the displaying the information, but you can edit the project structure as well from the reports. So instead of going back to the project builder or project planning board, you can just start editing or doing some work in the information system screen as well. Posting a material transaction to a project, and financial postings. So this is an external activity, and this external activity is integrated with the project system. What happens? The network has activities, and one of the activities, generate purchase requisition. One of the activity in the network generate purchasing system, purchase requisition for external processing. It could be material, purchase of material. It could be service activity, maybe consultant services, or it could be anything that we are purchasing from outside world. Now, these requests will be processed by the purchasing department, and they will follow the same procedure which is mentioned in the system, that they have to go for the purchase requisition, then they will go for the bids, and in quotation will come, and they will select the vendors, and they will create the purchase order, and then receive the goods and make the invoice payment. So basically what we are saying is that the network is connected or integrated with the purchasing system. Now, this screen or this figure shows business transactions that establish a connection to work breakdown structure and network activities. So if you see here, we are network generate purchase requisition, or you can say activity in the network generate purchase requisition. So that is similarly, we are withdrawing the material. So activity need the material, or at some stage work breakdown structure need the material for an activity. So we are withdrawing from the material management. Now, by assigning the appropriate document, actual costs are directly posted to WBS, or actual costs are posted to the network or the activity. And this we assign these documents, or we assign these links during the project planning phase. That this activity needs external, this activity needs some external purchasing. This activity needs the internal activity allocation. This activity needs some labor or work center capacities. So when we will do the confirmation, then that confirmation will be assigned to that activity, or that will be gone to the work breakdown structure as well. So basically we are assigning the documents to the network, to the activity, to the work breakdown structures. Another important topic is the period end closing. As we know that every financial data has a period end closing. So similarly, because the project needs cost, and we have to close our we are doing the month closing. So period end closing is doing. The reason being, okay, we do the closing because we want to make sure that, okay, until this point, all the transactions are recorded and complete. So for period end closing, especially in the project system, we have different methods. So we can use settlement, we can use template allocation, we can use overhead rates. So we can use any of them to do the period end closing for our project system. Only thing is that we have to settle the rules at the proper place. This might be an exam question, but that period end closing processes, okay, settlement is one of them, template allocation is one of them, overhead rates is one of them. So these are, so they may ask you 2 or 3 closing processes, period end closing processes that we need to answer. Now, if you see here, we have settlements. So we purchase the material through the material management, and now we have to do the settlement. Okay, was that an asset? Okay, so it will go to the assets object. Or it was a sales order of revenue, it will go to this place. Or we are doing the confirmation. Confirmation might go to, might go to finance, or to the controlling. So any activity happen either at the material management level or finance or controlling or project system, they have to have a settlement rule, and they will be settling 2 different, different cost objects. Integration point. So this project system, if we have the internal activity, it has a link with it is integrated with the production planning. If this project has a revenue, it will be linked with the sales and distribution. If we are having a project of maintenance, we created a project for the maintenance of an assets, then it is linked with assets enterprise management. For sure, every project needs cost, so it has linked with the financial accounting and managerial accounting. If we are buying services or external activity, then we are linked with the material management. And if we are having in-house production, we need a human resource or labor or consultants, inner consultant, then the data will be transferred, or project system will be linked to the human capital management. So if you see here, these are the integration point for project system. So 3, 6, and 7. 7 modules are linked with the project system. So that is the end of project system, actually. Any question on that? Although it was kind of tough.